very carefully because we have something very special for you. Speaking of the student, and would you please sneak in that music for me? That's something I want to read to you now, and I want you to listen. Take the potatoes out of your ears and sit up for a change. Pull in your gut. The average American boy is splendid material. But in the rough, he is conspicuous neither for order, system, nor respect for authority. The military system supplies the most effective remedy for these defects. Effective because the remedy is sugar-coated. What boy with red blood in his veins is there who does not feel a thrill at the tap of the drum or the sound of the trumpet, who does not delight to handle a rifle, or who does not simply glory in popping away with blank cartridges at an imaginary enemy in an infantry skirmish? Or if he is proof against these, who will not yield to the dashing interest of the mounted cavalry exercise, or to the artillery drill with its fascinating suggestions of power? What other method is there that will so surely and so quickly make the unpunctual boy on time to the dot, the untidy boy neat and trim, the bashful boy confident and assertive, the round-shouldered figure erect and full-chested? The boy who at home, unheeding the gentle maternal protests, varies his rising hour indefinitely, breakfastward, at the military school, springs from his bed at the first note of the revelry, and dresses as though the house were on fire. Yes, the boy whose mother picked up his things for him at home is now his own chambermaid. He makes his bed, sweeps his floor, keeps his furniture innocent of dust, keeps everything in its place. The boy who was accustomed to argue indefinitely with parental authority now obeys without question or delay. He obeys the commands of the smallest and most youthful corporal. The boy who at home thought it looked stuck up to stand and walk straight and slouched disfiguringly goes about now with his head up, his chin in, his chest out, and his stomach sucked up, his figure straight and well poised, and a goodly sight to see. Yes, the military method, however, to be effective, must be real. There must be no sham about it. There must not be any dilution nor modification. The military schools that have succeeded best are those that have been the strictest and have trained their cadets in their military work as earnestly and exactingly as if the making of soldiers was the end in view and not simply a means. The mere nattiness and glitter of the uniform can appeal only to the unworthy traits. If it is to appeal to the best there is in a boy, the uniform must stand for something more than a mere tickler of pride or fancy. The uniforms of the best military schools are eloquent of prompt and unquestioning obedience, of system and order, of setting up exercises that square the shoulders and expand the chest, of drills with every detail accurately hammered out, of days of early rising and early to bed, and of wholesome living, and of many other things which must of necessity exercise on the cadet's afterlife an important and lasting influence. And not only must the military system, if it is to create the desired esprit de corps, be thorough and businesslike, but if it is to keep the cadet's interest from lagging, it must also have the spice of variety. For it must be remembered that the cadet of the private military academy has not in most instances the incentive of a soldier's career ahead of him, but must gain his incentive solely from the temporary interest aroused by the military features of the school itself. There you go. How would you like to have that laid on you? Now, I'll ask you, I'll give you a listen, I'd award you 10 fig leggies with brass palm, additional dangles. Believe me, for if you could identify where that came from, what that is. It's fantastic. Did you really listen to that? Really? Boy, I haven't read anything in a long time that has shown how unbelievably and dramatically times have changed, man, from one end of the century to the next. I mean, spectacularly. Well, I'll tell you what that was. No way you could guess what it was. No way. No conceivable way. That was an editorial in Scientific American. Did you ever read Scientific American? You have, Jerry. I'm sure you have. a famous magazine, you know, with the birds and the bees and a story about the, you know, they always have a big thing about the ocean floor and stuff like a rare warbler discovered in South America, that kind of stuff. Well, yeah, it's a great magazine, really. But that was an editorial in Scientific American. And if you care to look it up, it's probably on record somewhere. And the only hooker in the whole story is that was an editorial in the magazine, Scientific American, of Saturday, March 4th, 1905. I mean, they really lay it on the line, you know. The whole military thing going full blast, man. And more than that, it was you couldn't conceivably get away with writing a thing like that. Not that and I'm not taking an anti-defense stance or anything like that, but the whole idea of treating a military thing is a fantastic, great, groovy thing that can happen to you. Is a totally different scene than today. And you know,